give you the hot sauce, the new version of the Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast, episode number 21. You think about some of the great number 21s in the course of sports history, Roberto Clemente, Tim Duncan, Sammy Sosa, and the great Deion Sanders. But when it's 21 and it's Stacey King's podcast, there's only one number that matters. Stacey King broke into the NBA wearing number 21. Does it bring back some good memories?
Ouch.
Oh, you went 34 first.
I wore 34 first, and then I switched to 21. I wanted 33, but Scottie Pippen wanted to charge me like $200,000 to wear 33, and I was like, as much as I love 33, I've had it since I was a child. All my brothers wore that number. I said, you can have that. I'm not paying no $200,000 for no jersey number. So I took 34 because that was my second favorite player, Len Bias. So I really, I was a big fan of Len Bias. So I took 34 to honor him the first year. And then I switched to 21.
The whole gang is here. Timmy Whispers is recovered from his Florida sunburn. We're going to talk some MMA, which is one of his strong suits.
Yes, he didn't win any fights.
Oh, yeah, your episode. Telling stories of his ass whoopings.
I got a
lot of kids' ass whooping open.
A lot of knockouts, but they were me.
We have a very special guest coming up in our next segment. Curtis Razor Blaydes, one of the top-ranked UFC heavyweight contenders. He's a Chicago area guy. I look forward to catching up with him. We want to start things off by thanking our great sponsors at Bubble Up. Of course, it's the Cloud reimagined, the new way to visually organize any kind of content all in one place. The NBA trade deadline is coming up on Thursday. We are recording episode number 21 on Tuesday evening, which means the beer is flowing. Tim, you don't have the keg going again, do you?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We just restocked tonight.
Yes, we restocked.
Yeah, we changed out a keg. He was struggling, though.
Well, I saw you serving bottles and cans. I thought maybe the keg was out.
No,
the king brings his own.
I'm bringing my own right now, ladies and gentlemen. To honor St. Patrick's Day.
And Black History Month.
I decided to go with the snake bite again. Yes. Dark and light, as you can see right here. Let me be there.
There you go.
Say that there.
Because it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. So I decided to stretch St. Patrick's Day another week.
And if you haven't followed us,
we just saw Phil Collins come in.
Yes, he's
Phil
here.
Collins.
He made it.
Oh,
he's checking the keg.
there he is right there. Phil Collins. There he is. Go on in, Phil. Go on in.
Studio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Come on, get him on camera.
Say hi to all the folks
get
on
him on
YouTube.
camera.
He's got to come by you, King.
Come over here. Come on here. Come on in, Steve. No, come here, Steve. I want everybody to see you.
Everyone's shy until the beer starts flowing.
Oh, come on, man. Well, he didn't want to come. Phil Collins didn't want to. He does
Special
like
guest in studio later. Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
Yeah, we've got the show rolling on YouTube on a weekly basis now, so make sure to check that out. So hello, everybody on YouTube, and we're on all the major podcast carriers. We're also now in 39 countries. So subtitles, I don't know how exactly it's translated, but it works somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
who's playing the part of Stinger? That's what
I don't know. I don't know who's playing the part of that.
How does that translate?
Yeah, how does that translate? Who's playing Timmy Whispers?
Some guy in Finland is going into his bin looking for cards. Hockey cards or what?
I do have hockey cards. Yeah, I do.
Ice skating.
Yeah.
And a sling.
Yep.
He's sitting out there all
I told you, I have
lathered up.
I think I have a 74 Bobby Orr I can bring in just to show you.
You know what? Before we even get started, we're at the Nautilus Studios here, okay? We're in the private Nautilus Studios here, okay?
Right.
I want to know what happened to security, okay? Because Phil Collins just walked in. It could have been an assassination attempt. Where's our security? Do we have security?
What happened to Frank Farmer? Did he?
I don't know. Where's Frank Farmer? Yeah, where's our bodyguard at? Because you just can't have people walk in and out. We need security here.
Wow. He was telling Stinger he had too much MCT oil.
Yeah. You actually locked me out because I had to go.
Was that you?
Yeah, I was knocking on the door.
Oh, I didn't know that was you.
Yeah,
I locked the door.
Yeah, you did lock the door.
Listen, man, there's a lot of craziness going on out in the world, baby. I don't trust anybody. I'm locking doors.
Well, we have Curtis Razor Blaydes. He can help us with security, right? Later.
Well, unfortunately, he's on Zoom. So how's that going to help us? I don't know. Okay. By the time he gets here,
if we're under attack, we're all
done.
over.
It's all over.
That might still work with Curtis.
He might not even know the address coming from Zoom. What?
Well, we're going to be talking mixed martial arts in our next segment. We start off with taking a look around the NBA. As we mentioned, the trade deadline is coming up on Thursday, and all of a sudden we're hearing a number of rumors involving the Chicago Bulls. So, of course, they've made it pretty clear they're not going to trade Thad Young. He's so important to this team in terms of what he does on the court and also his leadership in the locker room. Heard yesterday that he stayed afterwards to talk to Kobe White and Wendell Carter Jr. just to keep their spirits up, saying, I know, you're coming off the bench now. Your minutes are limited a little bit, but you got to make the most of it. Don't hang your head.
That's the mark of a good veteran. I mean, taking 2 young players over and letting them know, because they're a little down right now.
Yeah.
Their confidence is a little shaken. You can see it the last few ball games. And I think they're pressing. I think they're pressing hard because they want to get back in the starting lineup. But the way you get back in the starting lineup, and you know this, Mark, and is that you got to execute. You got to go out there and you got to move the basketball, pass and cut, make the right basketball plays, and rebound the basketball. If you're Wendell Carter Jr., rebound like a mad demon. If you look at Daniel Gafford coming into games now, he's now realized, like, hey, in order to get some playing time to get in this rotation, I got to play defense and I got to rebound. I got to be big. And he's starting to get some minutes also.
We mentioned our international coverage, or one of the top-ranked basketball podcasts in Finland. So all the folks in Finland, send some cards and letters to your friend Lauri Markkanen and cheer him up a little bit. He had a tough game against Utah the other night. He was 1 for 10, and Billy let him sit for a long time in the second half. I guess that's part of the growth process. This is Lauri's 4th year, but he's still a very young player.
Lauri is right now has to find easier ways to score. He has to get back to cutting to the basket, dive cut to the basket, posting up, and he's kind of reverted back to just kind of floating around on the 3-point line. I mean, he's shooting the 3 ball, a lot better than he did last year, but he's relying so much on that, and you can't do that. You gotta, you're 7 feet. Get offensive rebounds, get in there and post up, dive cut, because when you're playing with Thaddeus Young, if you cut hard, he's going to get you the ball. Those are going to be easy baskets. And so he's just got to get himself going. You're in a situation right now where you are a focal point in this offense, and every single night you should count on yourself to be able to get 15 shots a night. You should get 15 or more shots a night if you're Lauri Markkanen. You're the second option behind Zach LaVine. You've got to get 15 shots a night.
And in the game against Detroit on Sunday, which the Bulls won pretty easily, Patrick Williams, I believe, was 5 for 5. 4 of them were dunks because he did exactly that. He cut hard to the basket, got a pass, and was able to finish easily at the rim.
He's starting to play much more aggressive. I mean, even last night, I know he didn't have a good game, but he was aggressive offensively. And that's what they need him to do. They need him to be aggressive. Listen, he's a rookie. There's going to be ups and downs. You can expect that from any rookie. Okay. It's the guys who've been in this league 4 and 5 years. Those guys should have already figured it out. Patrick is still trying to figure it out. So when he gives you a good game, that's a bonus. You know what I'm saying? He has the potential to do it consistently, but he's got to figure out the league. He's got to figure out, when he can get his shot, where he gets his shot, when to be aggressive. And all that's tough for a 19-year-old. But the guys who are, 23, 24, 25, it's got 4 or 5 years experience. You're not trying to figure out the league right now. You should already know.
As we mentioned, the trade deadline coming up. Do you anticipate the Bulls doing something? You think they'll try to add to this to try to get into the playoffs? Or do you think AK is just going to use the rest of the year to evaluate and make his big moves in the summer?
Well, you hear Lonzo Ball's name, and
that'd be a good get.
I mean, I would jump at that chance, but I'm not the GM, so I'm just the man sitting next to the man, sitting next to the man. Okay, so my opinion doesn't count, but just watching this team, it's clear they need a point guard. It's clear. I mean, Sato is doing his best, and he would be a good backup, but as far as a lead guard, I mean, look what Chris Paul has done for Phoenix. Take away the bubble last year when that young team really dominated the bubble. Now you add Chris Paul to the mix. That clearly shows you if you get a guard like that can change your fortune. He did in Oklahoma City last year. So it's back-to-back years where he has turned the franchise that he's playing with around.
Speaking of GMs, did you guys see this picture on social media of the former Bulls general manager, Gar Forman? He was at the Michigan LSU game. He was in the middle of a whole throng of Michigan fans, rabid fans going crazy, and Gar's looking at his phone in the middle of them. He's a scout. Really? He's a scout for the Pelicans now.
He's scouting
so he's obviously scouting Cam Thomas and Franz Wagner and some other guys who were in the tournament. But it's just the funniest thing. Here you got
all business.
Yeah, all this maize and blue going crazy that their team won the game, and Gar's looking at his phone. But that's neither here nor there. The other investigation we want to get to the bottom of, Adam Amin brought this up on the telecast yesterday about the Dunkin' Donuts thing. He suggested that you might have some inside information on.
You know what? that's just a sore loser. Okay. You know, when he was winning early in the year and he was dominating, I didn't say anything.
Right.
I didn't question. I just say he's picking the right one. It's like picking a horse race, you know? But then, you know, I put a 15-game win streak up with and now they're questioning me. Okay. I have no inside information.
You don't have Michael Jordan's old source?
No. But I study the race. I study the race and I just have a feeling, you know, it's all like I go to work and I'm like, man, I need a coffee. Okay. I'm gonna go with a cup of coffee today, you know, or if I'm hungry. Oh man,
that doesn't sound like studying. That just sounds like
I mean, like what? The track is wet. It's an off track.
You know what? You know, first of all, Stinger. Okay, you interrupt me again. You interrupt me again. I'm gonna throat punch you. Okay, we're gonna start the MMA off early here in segment 1. Okay?
In the first segment.
Yeah, first segment.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I didn't appreciate Adam calling me out like that. You know, but you know, when you're sore loser, man. And he ended up going with me yesterday with Dashing Donut.
Yeah,
and we won. So now it's like, okay, so now you won.
Hop on the bandwagon.
But when he was beating me like 15-3, nothing was said. Yeah, okay, buddy. Okay.
Well, the other thing you were talking about in our pre-show Zoom meeting yesterday was about Blake Griffin dunking in the game Sunday. You said Blake is coming at us.
Yes. You know what?
Not you.
No, not me, because I'm a Sooner. Okay.
Sooner for life.
So talking to Blake, you know, he just wanted to send a message to you guys that he didn't appreciate you, like, you know, making fun of him, saying he hadn't dunked in 2 years. We all knew that, but you guys took it to another level. Okay, you took it to another level. Tell me, you couldn't dunk over. You couldn't dunk over a dollar bill. You couldn't dunk over a notebook. I mean, all kind of things. Okay,
and I don't remember saying any of that.
I think I might have said that.
Yeah. Oh, Mark said it. Yeah. So Blake sent a message. He's like, if you really want to see him dunk, why don't you stand under the rim?
Yeah.
And
I'll get the throat punch like Wendell got yesterday from Gobert. That was pretty nasty. Wendell didn't come back after that one.
Nah, that was nasty, man. That looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they didn't give him a flagrant. They give him a flagrant for everything.
Yeah, that should have been a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been very consistent with the neck up, you know, all for the last few years since they implemented that rule. And that was the first time that I've ever seen them not call that a flagrant foul or something like that, a flagrant foul. So it was unfortunate for Wendell. But, you know, those plays back, you know, I always say about in the 90s, you know, if I would have been on Wendell's team and I just saw him do that, he's getting it. You hurt one of my players like that, we're getting you. We may not get you right then and there because the officials are waiting for it, but I'm getting you somewhere during that game. I'm going to get you.
In the game?
Yeah, in the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's payback.
Yeah, somewhere Kurt Rambis and Kevin McHale were going, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
They almost kill each other in the playoff series.
And, you know, Lane Beer. Wow, that wasn't a foul. Okay.
Well, let's talk about the trade deadline coming up. There's a lot of reports that the Boston Celtics might be ready to do something big, and they probably should, because Danny Ainge has admitted he hasn't done a great job as the general manager. You know, they've got 2 All-Stars in Brown and Tatum, and yet I think they're a game under 500 as we tape.
Yeah.
You know, they're just not playing well. There's reports that they may trade Marcus Smart, who had once been considered the heart and soul of that team, to Orlando in a package deal to try to get Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier up to Boston.
That'd be big for Boston. That would be huge. I mean, you're getting a guy who's about 24, 25 years old, younger, athletic, can guard, you know, multiple positions, you know, can shoot the three, shooting over 40% from the 3-point line. You know, I mean, that would be a huge get for them. And then Fournier, who's, you know, probably one of the most underrated 2 guards in the league, you know, guy that can get to the basket, go through contact, score. He can shoot the 3. He can pass the ball. I mean, that would be a huge get because they got all those first round picks. Right. So, you know, this is when those first round picks become like the golden tickets.
And they also have the trade exception from the Gordon Hayward deal, so they don't have to match salaries, which makes it a lot easier.
Well, it'll be interesting because they're coming to Milwaukee.
Right,
for
back to back
mini series. So we'll see how they stack up.
Yeah, and Milwaukee's hot. What do they won? 8 in a row now?
Yeah, they're 8 in a row.
And they
Giannis last night.
They destroyed Indiana without Giannis. It was amazing. Well, how many threes did they make in that game?
Oh,
a ton of them.
They had 35 assists.
48 points in the first quarter. Kind of makes you wonder about the whole MVP thing, which is up for grabs now that LeBron James is out probably for 2 or 3 weeks with
22 threes, I believe. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. It was my first look at Utah last night.
Yeah.
And I was highly impressed with them. They shot, they shoot the 3 ball probably the best I've seen this year. and consistently shoots the 3 ball.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Joe Ingles shooting over 40% from the 3-point line. Donovan Mitchell is a stud. Like, he can get his shot anytime he wants. He can handle the ball. He can pass. They shot better from 3s than they did 2s. And that was, we were looking at the stats. We're like, oh my goodness. Then you got a rim protector in Rudy Gobert who missed a triple-double last night. He had double-digit points, rebounds, and missed block by 1.
And they put him back in to try to get that 10th block. And he was questionable going into the game, and they put him back in to try to get a triple-double.
It's no worse than what LeBron did.
He stayed in the game after
you turn your ankle. You're supposed to be out.
Got to get my 10 points.
You got to get your double-digit points to keep your streak alive, and then you limp off into the locker room. Now you're out for like a month.
But the stats don't matter. Nobody's looking at it.
No one's playing for stats. No one's playing for stats.
It was 24 threes last night. I just double-checked for the
and Drew Holiday finally looked like the guy
Milwaukee
that they were hoping to get when they made that. They gave up a ton to get Drew Holiday.
He had 14 assists, 28 points.
What did I say, though? Giannis didn't play, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Drew Holiday got to be a point guard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Drew Holiday got to get everybody involved.
We talked about
that. Was the difference.
Yeah.
And if you're the coaching staff, you should be looking at this.
Yeah.
Because most people would think, well, Giannis is not going to play. They're going to get blown out. Okay. No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Because now you got a point guard. I've been saying this all along with him. Get the ball out of Giannis's hands. Let someone else, let Drew Holiday be the point guard that he's supposed to be. 14 assists with that team. They hit 23 threes. Come on, man.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, King. Is it helpful to get, because I noticed like off the start, they got Connaughton involved, Brook Lopez. How important is that? Like when you played with Jordan, obviously he scored bulk and took a lot of shots, but do you think that's important? Do you think that's important though, early on in the first quarter? Does that help guys that aren't to get them involved early?
Well, what we always try to do with Bill Cartwright is establish the post early. Get the ball inside, run the offense through Bill, and get us going a little bit, and then the offense takes care of itself, because MJ could get his shot anytime he wanted to, but there was other guys, Paxson, BJ, everybody had, a more difficult time getting shots within that offense, because there's a lot of movement, a lot of screens, and MJ would break the offense. He would break the offense and get his shot. But we couldn't break the offense and get our shots. So that was harder for all of us. Even though we could get our own shots, we couldn't just get the ball and just go, where MJ could do that. Scotty could do that. And the rest of us had to run a structured system and, 5 touches.
Right.
Okay, I'm in position to score now. Now it's new for me because coming from college, I shot almost every time I got it. That was like a black hole. I'm not gonna lie. That ball came inside.
We heard that from the Grants.
Yeah, Harvey Grant told us.
Yeah, Harvey. You know what? Harvey shouldn't even be talking trash because he was the other black hole. There was 2 black holes in that paint. If that ball came into any part of that paint, that shot was going.
Didn't he compare him to Jordan at one point?
Yeah, he did.
You know what? No, he was comparing me to Jordan with the way I scored. Okay. I'm dropping 49, 50 on people. Okay. So he was comparing my skill level at the college level scoring wise. Okay. All right, so I just want to clear that up right there. Not being a black hole or a ball hog. And I'm not saying MJ is a ball hog because I got 3 rings.
Yeah.
Right. So you're doing something right. But I ain't gonna lie.
Didn't Phil and Tex have to kind of go up to Michael and go, hey, we're going to run this triangle, but it's okay if you catch the ball in the mid post and you do whatever you want.
No, they had to sell it to him. He wasn't really gung ho about it in the beginning because everything always went through him. And what they did to him, they broke it down to him and said, Michael, your way's not working. You're not going to get past the first round by doing this by yourself, taking 35, 40 shots and no one else is involved. We've got to get an offense that gets ball movement, player movement, gets everybody involved. See, back in the day when you played, you used to have like, they used to call it the parking lot. So they take 2 non-scorers and put them on the opposite side of where the strong side is. So if you had the ball on the right-hand side, you take the center and the power forward and make them go above the 3-point line to try to get the defense away. And they call it the parking lot. And so that's how Jordan used to play with like Corzine and all those guys. And that's why he had so much space to move is because there were guys basically in the stands just sitting over there. Hey, Bender, can I get a beer? Michael's trying to score right now. I'll have some popcorn and a hot dog.
I'm out of this play.
Yeah, he's not even to play. And so then you would hear guys like when I came in the league, we learned to triangle together. And so when other teams had the parking lot situation, you'd hear him go, hey, those are non-players. Don't worry about them.
Non-players?
They're non-players. Trap the ball. That's what we would say. But the triangle, we all learned it together. And it was resistance at first. It was resistance. And, but Phil and Tex convinced Michael he was going to be a much more efficient scorer than he's ever been. He's not going to have to work as hard to score 35 points as he did before. And it was true. He was much more efficient. He got higher percentage shots, and the movement, you could post him up. You had him at the top of the circle. There were so many different plays that you could put him on the floor where he could attack from.
Stacey, you ever on a basketball team at any level that lost 20 games in a row? The Houston Rockets snapped a 20-game losing streak.
No, I never.
I know you played for the Timberwolves, and that was.
Hey, no one remembers that. Don't tell me. I don't even remember that.
Put that out of your mind.
PTSD right now. You see, I'm over here. I got my jerseys over here, my championship jerseys.
He got 3
I only
rings.
recognize the Bulls right now. Okay, I don't know about Timberwolves, but I was on a bad team. Now that you brought it up, you brought those memories up now, and I have to talk about that for a second.
Just a second.
Okay, just for a second. But I'm gonna tell you something. going from the Bulls to Minnesota, it was the penthouse to the outhouse, and it was a straight drop. There was no elevator, floor 8, 10. No. And so my first, I don't know if I told this story in one of these intersections, but when I got there, I was so anxious to want to play.
Yeah.
I was going to be in the starting lineup.
Score some points.
I want to score points, and I want to show everybody I was more than just a role player on the championship team.
Yep.
So the coach was Sidney Lowe. He calls me up the night before. He says, hey, we're going to have a shoot around. Do you want to play? If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. I said, oh, no, coach, I want to play. I want to be there. I want to play. So he said, okay, we're going to have a shoot around at 10 o'clock tomorrow over at Target Center.
Optional.
No, it wasn't optional.
Oh, okay.
It was shoot around because they had to walk me through the play. So you needed all the players there. So I get there Bulls, we get there like an hour and a half early. So I'm there, there's no one there. I see like people running on the treadmill because it was in a health club. There's people running on the treadmill. I was like, well, are those players? Like I'm looking up there. No, there's not anybody I know. So here, all of a sudden it's like getting like 9:45. Now you expect to see people.
Yeah.
All I see is coaches and the trainer and the equipment manager. Okay. And then Mike Brown, who used to play for the Chicago Bulls, Brown Bear, and Tellus Frank. So 2 pros, they show up to the practice. And I'm looking around like, where's everybody at? Like 10 o'clock. We don't do this in Chicago, because we're structured in Chicago. So the coach says, all right, we're going to go through we're going to walk through the plays. Stacey, hold on. How many people we got? That's what he said. How many people we got? We're like, looking, we got 3 players. We got 3 players. So then you needed 10.
Yeah.
Okay. It would help to have 10. So he starts looking around. He said, all right, Clayton, you come in. He's the equipment man. Clayton, you come in. You're going to work here. John, the trainer, you're going to come in. Strength coach, you're going to come in. So we're still like 3 people short. So he looks upstairs. He starts staring upstairs, seeing all the people working out. And he just starts calling down. He sees a lady on a treadmill.
Oh, no.
Hey, miss. Hey, can you do us a favor? Can you come down here and walk through the offense with us? She said, oh, sure. And then, she came down. I swear to God, she comes down off the treadmill. Then we pick up some guy who had a hurt leg. He had his leg was wrapped in a cast, and he limped down. He said, I can't really move, but I'll stand. I said, come on down. Just be here. We need you.
Hold on. What was Mike Brown doing there?
Mike Brown he played there. Yeah. He was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played for the Timberwolves.
So trying to keep up, Tim.
Yeah, trying to keep around me. We were way out in front of Tim.
I just noticed
I thought he was like not there yet.
They started the season of 94, 1-12.
Yeah.
They were 0-6 to start the season, and they won a game, and then they lost 6 more.
Now.
Yeah.
So
we have all these people on the court. And I'm just sitting here. I'm seeing a guy with a cast on. I'm seeing a lady up there who just got done running on the treadmill. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. We got the equipment manager who would never, you could tell he never touched the
You're going to get your points in that one.
So I'm just sitting here looking at him like, I wonder why y'all lose. Like, this is how it is. And then so Mike Brown goes, hey, man, let me just tell you, this ain't Chicago. This ain't Chicago. Yeah. You're not in Kansas no more. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, the players come when they want to come. They come to shoot around when they want to come. And I'm like, so
don't they get fined?
No, they don't get fined. They didn't get fined.
Oh,
the players ran the team. So they come when they want to. I'm like, wow. I was blown away by it because if I had pulled any of that kind of stuff in Chicago, I'd have been gone. They traded me, So that's when you come in this league and you're in structure, you expect every team to be that way. And I was completely surprised by that.
Yeah, you feel bad for some of those teams and some of those coaches. The shot of Steven Silas, the first-year coach of the Rockets.
I feel bad for him.
After they lost their 20th game in a row, he couldn't even speak, almost reduced to tears.
It's unfair to him because you know what? He waited his whole life to be a head coach.
Thought he'd have James Harden.
Yeah, he thought he was coming into a good situation in Houston, and he waited his whole over 20-something years as an assistant coach, and he finally gets his shot, and you take the rug out from underneath him. And what's going to be sad about this, and it's kind of similar to Brett Brown in Philadelphia. What's going to be sad about this is that, you know, he's going to accumulate a lot of losses. Okay. Those guys will play hard for him. They're going to accumulate a lot of losses, and he'll be judged on that. He won't be judged on that he lost a perennial all-star. You know, you let go of Boogie Cousins. You took all the weapons away from him, and now you're saying, hey, win for us.
Yeah, and Christian Wood, one of the guys they signed in free agencies, missed most of the season. He finally returned the other day, and they beat the Toronto Raptors, who now have the longest losing streak at 9. It looks like the Raptors are going to sell.
And they're selling.
They might trade Kyle Lowry to Miami. Miami's trying to get him.
And then I heard Siakam got into it with Nick Nurse.
With Nick Nurse. They fined him $50,000.
Which is surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there shows that the seams are bursting right there. Yeah. Because Siakam he's a hard worker. You know, you never heard anything negative about him in the locker room or whatever. And sometimes, man, when you get success and you win a championship and, you know, you start getting an all-star game, now you think you're above all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now you feel like you can go at the coach and question his play calling or question his decision-making. And that's what it kind of seems like it was. I don't really know because I'm not in the locker room, but you can see that now they're like, hey, you know what? It's time to sell. Himself. It's time to sell. No, let's, trade Lowry, see what we can get out of that.
Powell.
Norman Powell,
he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Killing it.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're giving up the playoff race this year. Which
means the Bulls have an even better chance of getting into that play-in situation. It looks like Atlanta's been hot. They lost last night. They blew a 17-point lead in the second half out in L.A. against the Clippers, but they had won 8 games in a row. They're getting a lot of guys back healthy, and they're also supposedly in the hunt for LaMelo Ball. How does LaMelo Ball and Trae Young work?
I don't know how it works at all. Unless you're going to play you're going to play Lonzo at the point. You're going to play Lonzo at the point.
I was thinking because he was the next thing I was going to bring.
Yeah. You're going to play Lonzo at the point and allow Trae to be the shooting guard. But on defense, you'll have Trae play the smaller guard and then Lonzo will play the bigger guard. That's the only way I could see that works. But I don't see how that helps Atlanta, to be honest.
Yeah, they'd won 8 in a row since the coaching change with Nate McMillan taking over. I know you talked about that in the broadcast yesterday about what a good coach Nate McMillan is. Really, I thought it was unfair that he got let go in Indiana.
Coach of the year.
They made so many changes to that roster. A lot of those guys have been hurt. I mean, they picked up Chris Dunn. I think he still hasn't played for the Atlanta Hawks.
I forgot he was on the roster.
Yeah, he's still there. And then they brought in Rondo. He's not playing much either. So, John Collins could be moved as well. He's another guy that's in the trade rumor.
Listen, teams are going to do what they want to do. Just my opinion, because I watch so many basketball games and, it's so hard to get talented players. And when you get them, sometimes you gotta let them grow and mature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't be so anxious to move them. John Collins, to me, is going to be a future all-star. He's going to be a guy that's going to be kind of like Karl Malone to me. He reminds me of Karl Malone. He's a physical, he's athletic, he runs the floor, he plays above the rim, he blocks shots. And when you got that type of player, man, you got to let those players develop and mature. Now that you got a good coach there that can put it all together, and get them to play a certain way. Obviously, Nate McMillan knows what he's doing. They won 8 in a row. They won 8 out of the last 9. So he's gotten Trae Young to play a different way because, Trae was playing pretty much free. He was out there just shooting from wherever he wanted to pull up. And that frustrated a lot of the players. You're coming down and he can make the shot, but is it a good shot? Because you can make that shot, is it a good shot taking a 30-footer 2 steps past half court? And I think that frustrated a lot of people. And I think Lloyd Pierce, the coach before, Nate McMillan allowed it, and I think it caused problems in the locker room.
Sometimes general managers can get in their own way. They just bring in too many players, and they create this glut at certain positions. They signed Danilo Gallinari as a free agent, who's, to me, is just a middling kind of player. So they overpaid him to bring him into free agency. So now they're like, well, we got to play him, which means it cuts into John Collins playing time. And now they're thinking, well, we paid all this money to Bogdanovich and all these free agents. We can't afford John Collins, which is crazy.
Well, and this is why certain teams in the NBA stay at a certain level.
Yeah.
They can never get past a certain level. And, when you have talented young players, listen, all these people who are holding on to these first round picks, they know how important these picks are. Okay. That's why they're scouring the draft, trying to find players. Okay. Tell me who at the college level right now at the power forward position is better than John Collins.
I can't think of a power forward.
I mean, if you can think, we're looking at the tournament now, granted, it's a totally different tournament with COVID, whatever, but of all the games you've seen this past weekend, name one big player you said was, oh man, he's awesome.
I like the kid from USC, Evan Mobley, but he doesn't shoot it like John Collins.
No, but there is nobody in college basketball better than John Collins right now.
Agreed.
And that's what baffles me about these teams. Same thing with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is a tremendous point guard. Okay. Is he? I think now he gets a bad rap because of what his brother's doing. Everybody sees what his brother's doing and say, well, that's what Lonzo should have been. No, Lonzo is doing what he does. He's not flashy. He's not like LaMelo. LaMelo was a flashy player, and he's exciting to watch. It's like a Ferrari, and then you got the Ford truck. The Ford truck is going to start no matter what.
Reliable,
365 days a year. That's Lonzo Ball. And he's going to run your team. He's a pass first, pass second, pass third point guard. He can defend. He's a two-way player. He makes his teammates around him better. And so now you got Zion Williamson, and then you've got what's the kid? Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got three legitimate kids that could be all-stars. Both the other two are all-stars. Lonzo could be an all-star. You got a nice core group there. Now build around those guys. And they're still on their rookie deals, except for Ingram. The other two on their rookie deals. Build around those guys.
And LaMelo Ball, unfortunately, broke his wrist. He had surgery today. They said he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks, but most likely he's done for the season. Has he played enough games to still be rookie of the year? Yeah.
Yep. He's dominated from the start.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's 41 games he's played? Yeah. It'll be the least amount of games played for a rookie of the year candidate. I think Patrick Ewing was the leader up into that point, like 50 something games. But in my opinion, he's been the class above everybody this year. Regardless if he plays the rest of the year, he's been the top rookie.
Yeah, the top draft pick, Anthony Edwards, now starting with the new coaching staff in Minnesota. He had a 40-point game recently. He's starting to come on a little bit. Of course, Tyrese Halliburton in Sacramento is doing well, but I agree. I think LaMelo Ball, even if his team, he elevated his team to a playoff caliber.
Big time.
They went from a team like not even supposed to make the playoffs to a top 4 team, and the rookie starting point guard. Woo! You don't see that too often.
And he energized the whole franchise. People want to watch that team.
They're on ESPN now. They're on national TV because of this kid. And you know what? He's got a flair about him that you gravitate to him. You watch him play, and it's like, even if he's not scoring, he's doing other things. He's rebounding. He's getting steals. The passes, I'm telling you, it's like Pete Maravich reincarnated. Some of the moves that he does, he's coming down full speed and he's looking one way. He'll throw it between his legs and a bounce pass to someone, and the defense is completely fooled. Just an unbelievable passer.
Yeah,
King correctly predicted that.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're right.
Thank you.
Patrick Ewing had 50 games in his rookie year.
Thank you. I appreciate you pointing out those that I said that LaMelo Ball was going to be good.
Will he be back, you think, or is he done?
They said they're reevaluating in 4 weeks, but
I doubt it. They might hold him out. They might hold him out.
Well, since we're talking about a fractured wrist, it's a perfect segue for our next guest, who's busted up a lot of people in his life. Curtis Razor Blaydes. We don't want to keep him waiting. He is next on Give Me the Hot Sauce.
Oh, yeah. The smooth sounds of stinging.
Now entering the octagon from Chicago, one of the top ranked heavyweights in the UFC, Curtis Razor Blaydes, our special guest on episode 21 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. Curtis, welcome to the show. Tell the folks a little bit about your background. Obviously, you wrestled, you played football in high school, and now you're one of the stars of the UFC.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty good overview right there. I went to De La Salle. Went there today, actually. Went to go talk to a bunch of my old teachers and my old coaches. I went there, graduated in 2009. I won state in 2009. Then I got a scholarship to go to Northern Illinois University. I wrestled there, redshirted, messed up my grades, lost my scholarship. Then ended up going to Harper, which is a junior college up in Palatine. I wrestled there for 2 years. I won JUCO Nationals in 2012. And I was going to go to an NAIA school to continue my wrestling, but again, didn't get in my transcripts in a timely manner, missed the enrollment period, needed some type of activity to stay in shape. Because I still planned on wrestling at a university. But I started to fight September 2012. That was my first amateur fight. I won that one in about 10 seconds.
Wow.
I haven't rewatched that video in a while, but it's pretty fast.
Yeah, get it done quickly.
Yeah. And then after that, I kept doing it. My plan was just to keep fighting until I lost. And then I won all my amateur fights. I went 8-0 at the amateur. Then I decided to turn pro. May 2014. I won that, my pro debut. That was over at the pavilion, the UIC pavilion. And then I kept winning. And then I went 5-0 on the regional circuit. And then I got the call from the UFC April 2016, and I made my debut and been in the UFC ever since then.
I'm gonna tell you what, for our listeners, you guys got a chance to hear his walkout music when he comes in to fight at the UFC, which is Mortal Kombat. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. Okay, by playing that music, I was ready to choke some people out in here. I seriously, I was hyped. I mean, I was ready to just put somebody to sleep. Okay, and I don't even know how to do it, but I was willing to do it. That music, so I can see you when you come into the ring, because I watch a lot of your fights. I can see what gets you in the mood, gets you ready to go in and put a beating on somebody with them elbows and that ground and pound, lethal ground and pound. And for our listeners who are not UFC fans, this is one of the top 5 heavyweights in the world. This is not a guy that's trying to work his way up from the bottom to the top. He's already done that. He is a top 5 heavyweight in the world. We'll be fighting for a title at some point. There's a big title fight this weekend. 2 guys that you're going to be looking closely at, Stipe, and then the big Francis Ngannou, the Nigerian nightmare. So what's your opinion on that fight, and who do you think is going to win?
I think it's the right fight to make based on the rankings, based on what they both have on their resumes. And I'm going with Stipe. I believe that the game plan he used in their first fight a couple years ago, it worked to perfection. Why change up the game plan? I think he's going to use his boxing defensively. He's going to use his range, get to Ngannou's hips, put him on the floor in the first round, and then rinse and repeat. Just do it over and over and over until Ngannou breaks and he either gets the TKO or finds a submission.
Now, my question to you, because you say, Stipe is going to stay with his same game plan. It worked for him flawlessly. Do you think that Ngannou is going to make any kind of adjustments in his game? Because he's never had a wrestling. He's always been stand-up. He's trying to get you out of there as quick as possible. But do you see him? I've seen some videos of him, wrestling in the gym and trying to do some, grappling. Do you think he comes in with a different mindset, or does he go back to what works for him?
I think he knows. He knows he doesn't have the best stamina, so he knows he has to get Stipe out of there early. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to come out swinging, looking to take off Stipe's head, Stipe knows that. So he needs to be looking to wrestle. And Ngannou, his best chance at victory is early. The longer the fight goes, the less his chances of winning they go down. Because, like I said, he doesn't have the best conditioning in the world. Each round, he loses a bit of that amazing power. So if he gets into the third round, he's pretty much done for. So I think if he wants to win, he'll have to be aggressive and look to end it early.
Curtis, I don't know how big of a fan you are of other sports, how much you watch them, but you see athletes in other sports missing multiple weeks for a minor ankle sprain, or in the NBA, they have something called load management where they just want to rest guys so they'll be healthier for more important games later. Ain't no load management in the UFC. When you enter that octagon, man, this is real. What's your mindset when you go in? And tell us a story maybe about the worst you've ever been hurt in one of these matches.
Well, to answer your first one, my mindset going in is just do or die. Like, this guy's in the way. He wants to make money. I want to make money. Like, we only get half as much if we lose. So winning is a big deal. You get the win bonus. And that's really all I'm thinking about. For me, this is all about money. I'm trying to build a future for me and my family, my daughter. And I know the best way for me to do that is to maximize my time in this sport, and the best way to maximize it is to win and to get the belt. When you get the belt, you get the big money. The longer you have the belt, the longer you're making the big money, the better off your future is. So that's all I'm thinking. Like, this guy's in my way. He's in my way to get the belt, and I got to remove him.
A lot of our listeners and some of our novice MMA fans may not know this. You know, like a lot of the major sports, basketball, football, you know, baseball, they have pension plans, they have insurance, health insurance. A lot of people don't know you guys go in there and you don't have all that stuff. And so, you know, for you guys to go in there, you're literally putting your life on the line every single time you step in practice, every single time you step in the ring. So let our listeners know what that is for you and how you and rest of the fighters feel about that, because that, to me, I mean, I have the utmost respect for you, because I being a professional, ex-professional athlete myself, and now in my later years when you're in your 50s, and now those health insurance and all those things are so important for you. You know, you guys don't have that. And it's really sad, because you guys make a lot of money for the people who you wrestle for and you fight for. And it's really sad that they don't have some kind of plan for you guys to after fighting.
Yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate, and I do think it's something that I'd like to see get addressed, but hopefully it happens in my career. But if not my career, I definitely think that's something that'll be addressed in the next generation, because as the money grows in the sport, the guys at the top, they'll start to realize we'll get a better product when we invest or into our athletes, just like all the other sports you mentioned, like NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL. They invest into the athletes and they get a better product. Like, when your athletes don't have to worry about having jobs on the side or having to pay for their own health insurance, it relaxes their mind, puts their mind at ease, and they're able to really just focus on their sport. A lot of guys have jobs outside of the UFC. I used to have a job, but then I earned a better contract to the point where I don't have to have another job. But I know a lot of guys that train with me, they have jobs on the side. They go to practice, they go to work, and that's a lot harder than just going to practice and then going home to recover and to hang out, which is what I get to do. But I'm blessed. Not everyone's in that position. And one day in the future, I would like all the guys that do MMA. This is a very brutal sport on the body and on the mind. I would like for all the guys all women and guys that fight, I'd like for them all to have that peace of mind and not have to worry about, like, I hurt my ankle today, but I still got to go to work. Or I wish I don't have the money to pay for this right now. I have to wait till after the fight. I'll be happy when everyone in the UFC doesn't have to worry about those outside influences, those outside like stresses, because it gets to you. It affects your performance. It affects your training, and you don't want that. But for a lot of guys, that's not an option. They don't have the option to not go to work. They got to do what they got to do. And yeah, just hopefully one day it won't be that. It won't be like that.
Well, Mr. Blaydes, I have huge respect, and we have similar starts but different outcomes. I did judo. I started off in judo at Harper College, and then competed in judo in college. Then did some MMA later on in years. Got knocked out by Arlovsky. That didn't work out so well either. But nonetheless, I want to ask you a question. As you look at your fight plan coming up in the future, if you were up against Olenek and he's got that from the ground on his back, Ezekiel without the gi, have you planned on defending against something like that when you face him?
Well, I've actually already gotten a chance to fight Alexei Olenek. I fought him.
Pull that on you.
In November of 2017 in New York at Madison Square Garden. And he didn't get a chance to implement much of his jiu-jitsu. I did take him down a few times, but I was able to avoid those tricky positions where he's able to take advantage of guys. I was able to avoid those, and I beat him on the feet, and I got the TKO in the second round. But he does have a dangerous Ezekiel choke. He's got a lot of sneaky, like, he's a veteran. He's got a lot of old man moves.
Yeah.
Like Denzel Valentine, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of big money fights in the heavyweight division. It's gotten really interesting now that John Jones has moved up to the heavyweight division. Supposedly he's going to get the next title shot, whoever wins this one. But I mean, there is some serious money fights for you on the horizon. You got Stipe, depending on what he does. You've got Nagano. You know, you could go with Derek Lewis again. I mean, there's some really good fights for you. Which one really, you look ahead, really interests you the most?
I mean, if we're talking about just the money, just the dollars, John Jones. You know, because when you have the belt, you get a percentage of the pay-per-view buys. So like if I were to get the belt and then to fight John Jones, he would bring in a lot more buys. So I would get a lot more money off that. So yeah, John Jones, he's the money fight for heavyweight.
What do you think about John Jones going after the whole attitude about that he's the greatest and not really happy about, you know I'm talking.
I mean, that's all about perception, because I do believe that John Jones is a GOAT, but
I agree too.
That's just me, because there are people on the other end of the spectrum who take away from his GOAT status because of the PED allegations. I don't believe the PEDs make you great. Like, you got to already be great. The PEDs just allow you to train harder and longer, which is illegal, but it doesn't. PEDs aren't going to teach you how to throw a head kick.
Well, when you look at MMA and title defense, I mean, John Jones is the guy, not Khabib.
Yeah. And he's got the most title defenses. But then Khabib's argument is the dominance. He's never had a war. He's never had a fight where he's lost multiple rounds. John has had a couple closer fights. Like, he's lost rounds before, which is no shame. But when we're picking GOATs, we start nitpicking. That's one of the things that people use for Khabib's argument. Like, he doesn't lose any rounds. He's undefeated in every round. John has lost a couple rounds. So
the reason why I put John up there, because he cleaned out his division, and the lightweight division was a hot division when he was there, and he beat everybody. I mean, he went in and destroyed Shogun Arua when everybody was scared to fight him. Silva. I mean, he just dominated. I mean, he almost lost to Vitor Belfort, who probably most people would have tapped out when they were in that situation. And he was able to get out of that armbar and then be able to come back and win that fight in a dominating fashion.
He has one DQ, right?
Yeah. Well, he hit, was it Ryan? Who did he hit in the back of the head? And they called
I forgot. It was early.
Yeah, it was early in his career. That they should just erase that. But I'm not taking anything away from Khabib. Khabib is, Khabib's style has dominated that division. I mean, he's dominated those people. I would have loved to see him fight Tony Ferguson. He didn't fight everybody in his division. He didn't really clean out his division. And when you clean out your division, just like, Adesanya has done the middleweight division, he's like kind of cleaned out the whole middleweight division. Those guys, you got to put those guys on a different level when they clean out the best fighters in their division. There's nobody left.
Well, Blaydes was on his way right there, man. I thought you had it, man.
Yeah, you're going
to be there.
Yeah, I told him we watched him at the UFC when it was in Chicago.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was like, because like we always go to the undercard, the circuit fights here in Chicago, those are amazing fights. I mean, people don't really know how hard those guys go in there. They're trying to get to the next level. It's kind of like you liken it to the G League in the NBA. Those guys are busting their butt trying to get to the NBA. They'll do whatever it takes to get to the NBA. So when you go see these circuit fights, these guys are doing the same thing. I mean, they're scrapping and fighting for peanuts to get to the next level. So I got nothing but utmost respect for MMA fighters, man. I'm a big fan. I go back. I don't know how far you go back, Curtis, but I go back to the original, and we talked about this on the phone, the original UFC with Royce Gracie. And my friend Tim over here says it was more of a tough man contest, but I don't care because they had to fight like 3 or 4 fights in a night to win the money. And to do that, man, you got to be a bad dude. I don't care if you're fighting guys who may not know MMA, but if you got to go through 4 dudes to get a check, yeah.
I'm happy I wasn't old enough to be in the UFC back then. It was a different game. The game of MMA today is a lot more technical, but not as brutal. Back then it was way more brutal.
Yeah. Not as brutal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's not as brutal. It's not as brutal.
I have a quick question for you. I understand that 40% of UFC fans are women, which was kind of a surprise to me. I haven't watched much of it, but I watched a lot of your clips to prepare for the episode. And there's some elbow action. I mean, I can't even imagine how much that hurts. And I was wondering, were you born without a funny bone? Because whenever I hit my elbow, I go, it's like a funny bone thing. And I was watching you just pummel some guy in the face.
Stir over his forehead, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Tell me about your elbows.
That's just like years of, I think they're numb now because just years of hitting them on the bags and hitting them on other guys' heads during practice. They eventually, like, the feeling just goes away. It happens to a lot of guys' legs, like when they're throwing kicks over and over and over. Eventually, like, I forget like the technical term, but the bones break a little bit each time and they heal over. They break a little bit and they heal over, and it creates like a density so that like the bone doesn't hurt anymore. It takes years. It takes years and years.
I've got no shot. I've got no shot.
Me either. So let me ask you a question. I know when Conor McGregor came into the game, and were you just starting when he came in? Were you in there for a while, or were you just starting when Conor came in?
I was in MMA when he got into the UFC, but I wasn't in the UFC. I was an amateur still.
Okay, so you've had a chance to see what he's done and what he's done for the sport. What's your feeling on him as a fighter, and what he's done for the sport? Because us on the outside looking in, like, I feel like he's changed the game as far as how the MMA is looked at or UFC is looked at. I remember watching guys go to press conferences, never wearing suits, never getting G'd up and coming there looking nice, and then Conor starts doing it. And now you start to see everybody look professional when they're coming into the big press conference fights and stuff like that. So do you feel like he's changed the game?
Well, first off, as a fighter, I respect his game. He's very good. He got a great left hand. He's got great movement. He's an amazing fighter. The only issue I have with him as fighter is he doesn't have the best conditioning. He kind of slows down after the third round. But that's what he's used to putting guys away. He's not used to having to go to distance, so I'm not going to really hold that against him.
It's that training on a yacht that does it. slows you down.
No, but seriously though, Curtis, because you do a lot of cardio, and I'm sure you work extremely hard on your cardio. Like, why is it a guy at that level seems like he always gasses out? Is it because he's not training cardio?
No. He's not the only one. There's lots of guys like him. I don't know. Have you heard of Anthony Johnson?
Yes.
Rumble
had
that issue also. Like when you're used to putting guys away, in your mind, you go into the octagon like, this isn't going past 8 minutes. This isn't going past 5 minutes. And then when it does, it's like a shock. Like those guys, they're not mentally prepared to do 15 or 25 minutes. They're already expecting in their head to put that guy away. I go in there with the exact opposite. Like even when I fought Alistair, I put him away in the 3rd round, but I was expecting to go to distance. I expect all my fights to go to distance because that's how much respect I give my opponents. I'm not going to think like, I'm going to go in here and just knock this guy out. That's disrespectful to the training he's already put in. And I hope my opponents don't envision that against me, because that's disrespectful to me. Like, you're not like, yeah, it might happen, but for you to expect it, that leads you to your downfall. And I think that's one of McGregor's issues. He believes he's going to put you away early, and he doesn't expect you to last that long. When you do, it's like it throws his whole game plan out. Like he doesn't know. He's like, oh shoot, I got to fight. So yeah, I think that's the issue with him.
Well, Curtis, we heard your little girl in the background. We know that you're fighting for her so that she can have a great life. And we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. We wish you the best of luck. All of Chicagoland's rooting for you. Hopefully one day soon you will be the heavyweight champion. Curtis Blaydes, our special guest on the Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. Curtis, thanks a million. Coming up next, we go off the wall.
Get that title, baby. Get that money. Get the bag.
We are back. Time to take Give Me the Hot Sauce off the wall. And if you really want to go off the wall, Stacey was talking about giving his brothers figure 4 leg locks. That had to hurt.
Yeah, since we just got off that episode with Curtis Blaydes and we're talking about, wrestling.
Yeah,
wrestling.
Speaking of singlets and oil.
Yes, we didn't do the singlet and oil like John. But, no need. But we used to do all the wrestling moves that you saw on TV.
Yeah.
So Ric Flair was one of my favorite wrestlers. So he had the figure 4 leg lock. I used to try to put it on my brother all the time. The claw, Fritz von Erich's claw. I used to try to put on, but I never drew blood like Fritz did. Fritz always drew blood from somebody's head because he squeezed her head so
Wasn't
hard.
That fake blood?
Listen, man, don't ruin a kid's dream. Okay, it looked real to me. It looked real to me, buddy. Okay,
did you get your brothers to tap out, or they yell uncle, or how'd that work?
Nah, there was no tap out. He got out of it every time. I never could lock it in. He was pretty athletic.
Did you ever eat the turnbuckle like George the Animal Steel?
No, no one did all that. That's not something the Kings did.
And Tim, you didn't issue a challenge to Curtis when he was on the show. I was waiting for that.
Yes. I was a little out of my league.
Yeah. He did not want to see Curtis Blaydes.
But came out of the gate calling him sir. I was like,
yeah, he called him sir.
Oh, yeah,
and Tim is older than him.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Blaydes, sir. He thought it was a Sidney Poitier movie. Just Sir with Love.
Oh my God.
You see where the pain I'm coming from?
Now you actually fought a heavyweight that you're giving like 40 pounds in your bout.
Oh no, that was the Chicago Open. I got my ass kicked.
Well, how much weight were you giving away?
That was not a professional, by the way. That was
a milkman.
Idiot.
The milkman whooped his ass.
This is the guy driving down the street.
Yeah. The Amazon guy that drives a little blue truck whooped his butt.
They were lining up.
Yeah, we were talking in the driveway. He says, maybe I'll join on Sunday. I'll see you there. That's what happened.
You talk about selling mixtapes out of your trunk. They were charging admission to go in and kick Tim's ass.
Man. Yeah, Tim, listen, I give Tim credit, though. He tried.
Yeah.
He tried. He went out there and did his best. He took a heel to the face. And, hey, the guy tried,
no
man.
breaks here.
He was just trying to break things so it would toughen up his elbow.
He's lucky he didn't break his neck. That's why he's lucky he didn't break his neck.
And they told me, go back to drinking beer. You're better at that.
Yeah. They said, hey, man, why don't you just go grab a ring card and just walk around the ring? You're gonna be the first man ring card guy.
Oh, man.
Seriously.
Hey, there's no danger in being a ring man.
Ding,
Walk around.
ding. I think we're done.
Yeah, walking around with a ring card. We now have Tim walking around with a ring
we
card.
can't do much more than that. So we're
for Ezekiel on stage.
Oh boy.
Hey, Tim, I'll do your life rap, man. Come on, man.
Oh, man,
Don't let them attack you, man. Don't let them come and say, this is how the Beatles broke up. Okay. Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles. Okay. We got a lot of Yokos in here. Don't let them break us up.
One day I'll tell you about my victories. I mean, they were little kids, but
Oh wow! Wow! He's making little kids tap
okay,
out.
Father Kelly. Be
One
careful.
arm.
Wow!
Any one-armed girls?
Father Kelly.
oh, Father Kelly, no, oh man,
Oh my God! He said
Nelson,
Father
the full
Kelly.
Nelson and the Father Nelson.
Wow! My
That's the
God!
Father Kelly.
He just keeps digging the hole deeper. you
Yeah,
know?
he's just falling deep in the rabbit hole, man.
Hey, let's change the subject because we are getting into
Father Kelly.
some really bad areas here. If you haven't checked out episode 20 of Give Me the Hot Sauce, you got to go back and listen to it. We had BJ Armstrong on for nearly an hour, and BJ was just laughing, almost crying at some of the stories we were talking about. One of the stories was in 1989, the Bulls had 3 first-round draft picks. It was Stacey, it was BJ Armstrong, it was Jeff Sanders, and Stacey talked about Jeff Sanders driving you down to the Cotton Club in an old Ford Thunderbird. So that got us to thinking about our first cars. And Stacey, you said your first one was in college, right?
Yeah, I wasn't lucky enough to have a car in high school like some of you people.
Not a trust fund.
No. I was riding the school bus, the big yellow school bus, top 25 player in the country, riding the school bus with a Hunt Club shirt on with the collar ironed up. Okay, that was me. Okay, hey, it's tough. It's tough. So anyway,
You look good though.
yeah, thank you. So what happened was my older 2 brothers, my mom and dad really spoiled them. Me and my younger brother, Daryl, we were kicked to the curb. Okay. Normally the babies get spoiled. No, it was like a sweatshop. It was like a sweatshop in the King household for me and him. So my 2 older brothers, my parents helped buy cars, and they had the sweetest cars, man. So as a boy watching my older brother, he had a GTO, red GTO, man. It was the muscle car, real sweet. I mean, fast, like that kind of car. So it's really nice. And then my other brother, Lamont.
Your other brother, Daryl.
No, there's only one Daryl. My first brother is Gregory. Listen, where I really interrupted when I'm telling the story, I'm getting ready to put I'm getting ready to put you to sleep over here, okay? So anyway, I was really interrupted by Mark Shanowski over here. My older brother Gregory had the GTO muscle car. Then my brother Lamont had a sky blue Trans Am, like a 79 Trans Am with the T-tops.
Nice.
The sweetest car. So I used to sit in the driver's seat, like as a 12-year-old, acting like I'm driving it, and just like, cause we got hand-me-downs when we were kids. So whatever your older brothers couldn't wear anymore, they passed them down to me and my younger brother. So I thought they did that with the cars. And I thought it didn't work that way. So I didn't get the car. So anyway, so my brothers trashed their cars. They wrecked their cars, whatever. My parents was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm not doing it. So when it was time for me to come through the ranks and I was, ready to get my car, my parents said, you got to work. You got to work. You got to save your money. If you want a car, you got to work. I was like, wow. Like, we're doing this again? You did this when I was 6. When you told me, I couldn't go when we went to the grocery store. I tried to get gum. My mom said, you got any money? I'd be like, no. I said, no, Mom, I don't have any money. I'm 6. You got a job?
Oh no.
Oh man.
No, Mom, I don't have a job. I'm 6. So I had to go cut grass and work to get money to buy gum and stuff when we go to the grocery store. So it was no different when I turned, 17, 18 years old. So it was like, you got to go work. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go work. So I worked my dad was military, he's retired drill sergeant. So I worked in the summer on the Army base, washing pots and pans and dishes. And, I wanted the cool job where I couldn't cook, but I wanted to be a cook. I probably would have burnt the food up. I was just eating cereal at the time. I didn't know how to make pancakes or bacon, any stuff like that. But that was a cool job.
Yeah.
And then the next job was the servers. So you would serve all the soldiers. So you'd have 500, 800 soldiers come in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then the servers just, if they wanted potatoes, they wanted green beans, whatever, you just serve it to them. It was an easy job. But they had me back there, like, in the grunt work, back there in the hot kitchen, steam everywhere. And just the pots were about as big. I don't know if anybody's ever seen these pots, but they're like, you know, those big gallon pots. Like, I mean, you could put Southside in there and put her on a stove and cook her. That's how big the pots were. Okay. Throw some carrots in there, some potatoes. Yeah, Southside stew. Okay. So we had to do all this stuff, and it was a pain in the butt, man. It take 2 people to pick up one of those pots. And so I saved all my money up. It was time to get a car. I didn't have enough, so I had to work another summer to get it. So finally I get enough money to buy the car. I go to my dad. My dad said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down here and we're gonna go pick out a car. And so I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. So we go down to this used car salesman in my hometown, Lawton, Oklahoma. And, you know, of course, he pulls like a Chevette. You remember the old Chevrolet Chevette? And sweet. Yeah, he wanted, nah. I can tell you some stories about that Chevette, boy. Ooh, Lord, that's a different time. Anyway, I used to date a girl who had a Chevette.
Oh, the lay down back
man,
seat.
let me tell you something. You better be flexible.
With the hatchback.
You better be flexible in that Chevette, boy. Thank God for yoga, baby. Thank God for yoga. I was doing yoga back in the day. But anyway, that's a different story, different time, different chapter. Okay. So the Chevette, I didn't like the Chevette. It just looked, nah. And then there was a Gremlin. Remember the old Gremlin?
Remember those, yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, man. Come on. Come on. We're going from Trans Am GTO to this.
How about a Pinto?
No, we didn't get Pinto, but it was, these cars were nowhere near what my brothers got. So I was kind of frustrated. So then I see this like 78 Ford Thunderbird. Okay. Ooh. It was white. It had maroon rag top.
A Landau.
Oh, and it had a red interior. Like it matched the roof. And I was like,
a vision.
That's the car I want right there. It was a sweet car. It was a sweet car. So I was so proud of that car. I drove it back to University of Oklahoma. I was so proud of it. I put a new stereo system in it, put some different rims on it, really tricked it out, you know? And so, so one day my brother comes in, he says, hey, I need to borrow your car. I need to drive home. Cause he was living in Oklahoma City. So he'd stop in Norman and he'd be like, yo, my car's in the shop. I need to borrow your car to go home. Mom and dad want to see me, da, da, da. And I'm like, no, you're not using my car. Cause every time you loan him something, it never comes back the same. So my gut instinct is like, nah, Lamont, you're not using my car. So my mom could get me to do anything. So Lois King called me up, baby, let your brother borrow the car. Please. I need to see your brother. Haven't seen him in a long time. Please help your mom out. And I'd just be like, I just melt. I'd be like, oh, all right, mom, but I don't like this. I have a gut feeling something bad's going to happen. If he doesn't put gas in my car on the way back, because, you know, in college, you're on a budget. You know, so, you know, you in college, I wasn't driving all over the place. It was like you drove where you needed to drive and you came back home because you didn't have money for gas. You know,
Boosters didn't help you with that.
Come on, man. Don't see. That's how rumors start right there. Okay, that's how rumors start right there. See, I will admit that I did take a pay cut when I came to the league, but that's a different story, a different chapter. Okay, I'm sorry. NCAA statute of limitations, baby. You can't get me, baby. Yeah. So anyway, see, Mark is trying to get me in trouble with the NCAA. So anyway, so my brother borrows my car. He drives it home, you know, and I'm just mad. You know, I didn't have anywhere to go that weekend, but I let him use it. And I was so mad to let him use it because I knew something bad was going to happen. And so, I get a call. I get a call from my mom. And, you know, she hits me with that melting voice, baby. I know you're going to be mad. Okay, no. It's going to be okay. I just want you to know it's going to be okay. And I'm like, what happened, mama? He's like, we had a little accident with a Thunderbird. And I'm like, and I'm going crazy. Like, what happened? It's okay. Calm down. The car is drivable. He's coming back with it right now. It can be fixed. Trust me, we got insurance. It'll be fixed. Don't worry about it. So I'm livid. I'm like, okay, my car is messed up. I really put a lot of money in this car and really a lot of time and effort. So my brother comes back to the apartment to drop the car off. And then my one of my roommates, one of my teammates who lived upstairs, like, oh, King, what happened to your car? Oh boy. And then I immediately run out there. Okay. So I look at my beautiful Thunderbird. Okay. I go over to, I'm on the passenger side. Nothing's wrong. There's no dents or anything. I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong. So I walk over to the other side and the door, the driver's door is gone. Okay.
Completely gone.
And he put a plastic like bag cover over the door.
Tommy boy.
Yeah, he put it over the door and he drove all the way from Lawton, Oklahoma back to Norman with this huge plastic bag. And then I go, come on, what did you do to my car? And he's like, man, calm down. It ain't that bad. I like, of course you're going to say that because it's not your car, but you're going to give me a car back with a plastic bag on it. I got to drive around. I got to poke a hole in just to see where I'm going. So he's talking about
pay tolls.
he says to me, all right, listen, we're going to get you a new door. And I'm like, well, where's the original door? Well, it got hit by a truck. I was at a bingo shop and I accidentally left the door open and the truck just came by and knocked it off. And I was like, what the hell were you doing at a bingo shop? That's like for older people. What are you doing at a bingo shop? Well, I had this girl I was meeting over there, blah, blah, blah. So I said, you left the door of my car open and then a truck came by and hit it. He's like, yeah. He said, but don't worry, Dad's going to, insurance going to cover it, yada, yada. But you just got to drive like this for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, man, I'm not driving this car. But I ended up driving. I cut out a hole, make it look like a window so I could actually see. You had to get in on the passenger side and slide in. Yeah, man. And if you took the curb you took a turn too fast, you're liable to fall out the plastic.
The Visqueen Cruiser.
So I had to literally like slow down when I took corners because I could actually fall out.
Could you have a passenger in that front seat with you?
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Back in those days, we used to ride in the back of pickup trucks going to baseball games. So you think a little plastic gonna stop us?
Well, I don't know if you had a date in the front seat. And
hey, listen. You know what, man? You do what you got to do. Okay. If she wants to go out to dinner, she'll get in that car with the plastic bag. Okay. All right. That's all I'm gonna say. If you want to go out to dinner,
you had to get in on the passenger side.
Huh?
You would have to get in on the passenger side.
I would get in. I got on the passenger side. I get in first.
Right.
Okay. Then she'd have to get in second.
That's a smooth move.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, listen, man, when you got to do what you got to do.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Gentleman, because you opened the door for her too, kind of.
To get himself.
Yeah, I had to get myself in. Okay. Listen. All I'm gonna say is, man, I don't wish that on anybody. That was one of the worst experiences I ever had. And it's almost like when you work so hard for something and then someone takes it away from you. Like it's just a bad feeling, and that's how it was.
I'm guessing the Stinger had a dune buggy. Let's hear about it.
Or the bike with the banana seat.
Nah,
he kept sliding back and forth. But he kept sliding back and forth with oil.
I had a 1968 Mercury Cougar. Okay. And
is that the kind of car that like Cannon rode in, like Buddy Epson and remember those shows? Yeah. Like Mannix.
It had very similar to a Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
Very similar. It was a hard top. But the beauty about this car had a 390 engine in it, and the guy seized the motor. And my dad owned a shop, so we pulled the motor out, and the car literally went off the ground. That's how heavy the motor was. Just huge. I don't even know how they changed the spark plugs. But anyways, we put a Junkyard 302 in it. We made it Wimbledon white with turquoise racing stripes. It was turquoise.
Wimbledon white.
Wimbledon white. That was the color.
That's the color of it?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning something new every time. I never heard that terminology.
Wimbledon white.
You could have just said white. You could just said white. Yeah. This is a white car.
Well, if you're in the business.
Wimbledon white.
I have a springtime yellow 1966 Mustang currently, but when you're into cars, you know what the colors are. So it was Wimbledon white with turquoise racing stripes.
Yeah, so shut up, Chanel. That's basically what he just said. Shut up in a nice way.
Bjorn Borg playing John McEnroe in all white, Wimbledon white.
Anyways, it was tricked out. It had the hydraulic lights that would flip up, in the back.
Those were electric, not hydraulic.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. Way to get in there, Tim.
Okay.
Way to bust that bubble.
What kind of car did your parents give you?
I got a 73 Chevy convertible. So it basically had two Value City couches in the front and back. And it was crazy. There was holes in the vinyl, but I never understood the fact that every time I had to stop, especially in the summer, they get a spatula out to get my thighs off the seat.
Were you riding naked?
No, I just had those Larry Bird shorts on.
The ball huggers.
Yeah, sometimes some stuff.
Speaking of Wimbledon,
Wimbledon whites.
Yeah, it was not very comfortable. The shorts I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
Southside. What about your first car?
Oh my gosh. Well, on the south side, I had to save my money for my first car.
Yeah.
And I bought, it was a cutlass, and it was, one of my uncle's my grandfather's cousins died. It was like it was like an old man car.
It's an old man car. Wow. It was so ungrateful.
It was named after a pirate sword.
I wasn't ungrateful. I bought it myself. It was like a rust color.
Well, that's
it wasn't a rust color, it was just rust.
It's just rust, exactly.
They call that pea stain.
John, you invoked the name of the famous Ford Pinto earlier, and that was the car that famously would explode in a rear-end collision, which was always nice. My first car was its slightly upgraded cousin, the Chevrolet Vega.
The Vega,
which was very similar.
Vega.
And I didn't know how to drive a stick shift, but that was what I could afford. So I got this with the manual transmission. So here I am trying to learn how to drive this, which was a lot of fun. And we lived across from a neighborhood tap in Milwaukee, and they're everywhere. There's corner bars everywhere in Milwaukee. Sure. So, you kind of had to maneuver around to park the car in the back. So if I knew I was going back out, I'd park the car in front, just knowing I was going to go back out. So it was in front of the house, and all of a sudden somebody knocks on the door and I go, I hate to tell you, but somebody hit your car, and someone stumbled out of the corner tap, drove around and basically ripped off the back bumper.
Oh,
but the guy actually fessed up to it, and I ended up being able to pocket the insurance money because the car wasn't worth anything anyway. So it was a win-win.
Who was the insurance company?
American Family Insurance.
You're under arrest. Fraud. You're under arrest for fraud. I work for American Family.
Limitations.
American Family Insurance.
Just like your NCAA fraud. I think we're both.
Hey, buddy. There you go. You trying to throw me under the bus again.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a call from the NCAA.
Hey, you know what? I think this is a good time to just ease on the down low, because Stacey has another car story to tell about when you joined the Bulls and some nefarious things going on at the dealership. You feel comfortable telling that story? Is the statute of limitations up on that one?
Oh,
That's a good question.
Which one? With the
stereo.
With the stereo system. Hey, this is on the down low, so they won't hear about it.
Oh man. Okay. So I get to the NBA. And it took me about 2 years to get the dream car that I wanted. I shout out to the late Ricky Dixon, University of Oklahoma, free safety, All-American, played NFL in the Cincinnati Bengals. It was a good friend of mine in college. When I used to go to his dorm room, he was older than me. So I used to go to his dorm room, hang out in the summertime.
Okay, let's get to the car.
Shut up, man. Okay. So you know what? I'm about ready to mute your mic. Okay. Anyway, I was rudely interrupted by Larry the Lobster over there. So he had this picture, a poster on his wall of a 560 SEC. And then, so he says, when I get to the NFL, this is the car I'm going to get. It was red. And he said, the difference is I'm going to cut the top off. So it's a 560 coupe. Mercedes SEC, and I thought that was the sweetest car. Like, I didn't even know what a Mercedes was, coming from where I'm coming from. I didn't know what that was. So, but when I saw it, I'm like, man, that is a cool car. So then he got to the NFL and he bought it. He comes back to OU my senior year. He rolls up. He's got the crimson and cream Mercedes Benz with the white top cut off, and it was the coolest car I'd ever seen. And I go, when I get to the NBA, I'm getting that car. So I get to the NBA. I waited 2 years to get it because I got a Blazer when I first came to Chicago because of the snow and stuff. But my second year, I wanted a cool car. So I got the Mercedes 560 SEC. And so when I got it, it was just plain Jane. So I had to trick it out. I had to put all the bells.
Hey, you're an NBA player. Got to do it.
Yeah. Sure.
And then that's just my style. I mean, I was tricking it out when I didn't have money when I was in college. So that was just my style. So, I got the AMG kit on it, the ground effects on it, which is sweet. Put the big fin on the back, had the booming system in it. It cost me like $15,000 for this system. Okay. Only 2 places in the country put it in at the time. It was in Ohio and then it was in California. So it was a unique system.
The BBS rims.
Yeah. And the rims. And I mean, the whole car, Tim will tell you, it was a sweet car. We had the lamb cover seats in there. And I remember the cell phones first came out. The car phones just came out. And so I remember, mine wasn't a brick. Mine was nice. I had like a regular, mine was nice. I had that big brick that weighed 10 pounds. I never had one of those.
Gordon Gekko.
Yeah, exactly. The one you could use as a weapon, smack somebody in the head with it. So I remember getting this phone in my car with this stereo system. And the first thing I did is call my mom. Okay. So I call him like,
You driving?
No, I'm parked. Don't interrupt me. So I'm parked.
Did she use the voice? Baby?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what she said. So I'm calling, ding, ding, ding. You know, so this is my first long distance call in my car. First call from my car. So, and she goes, hello. And I said, Mama, guess what? And she said, baby, what are you doing? And I said, I'm calling you from my car phone.
Wow.
And she said, she goes, what? A car phone? You got a phone in your car? And I go, yes, it's cool. I can call you. And I said, this is so awesome. I can call you. And it was so cool until I got the bill.
Oh,
yeah. When I got the bill, that's when I realized it wasn't cool anymore. Cause it was like, that's when it was expensive.
3 times.
Like,
sure.
Yeah. It was like, man, you're talking like for 1 minute, it was like $30. So I'm like, you remember see that commercial? Happy holidays from the Hendersons. Remember that commercial? When they couldn't talk. Remember that one? Yeah. That's how it was. I love you, Mom. Gotta go. Click. You know, so it was like 5 seconds worth, you know, but it was awesome. So this stereo system I had in there, you know, it was very expensive. It was unique and it had a joystick. Everything was controlled by the joystick. So like if someone would have broke into my car, I could actually, the car would call me on my cell phone and I could actually talk to the people in the car and say, hey, you know, you're in my car right now, right? And the person would be like, oh, they'd be scared. Like, where's this voice coming from? You got 5 seconds to get out the car. I'm coming out with some hot lead right now.
I'm in the trunk.
Yeah, I'm coming right now. And so if that ever, it never happened. No one ever broke into my car until I take my car in, I go to, I'm not gonna even say the dealer's name.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I took it out over in Highland Park. That's all I'm gonna say.
Rhymes with.
Hush! Don't say anything. Don't say anything. So I take it over there, and so the guy tells me, I said, I'm going out of town. I'll be gone for a few days. Is it okay? It's going to be here. He goes, oh no, it'll be secure lot. I said, look, man, you got to keep it inside. He goes, oh no, don't worry about it, Stacey. We'll keep it inside, yada yada. So I'm like, cool. So I'm going away. I'm at a Mercedes dealership. I feel confident, you know. Normally I go to Motorworks, but Motorworks are so far out the way. So I'm like, oh, I'll just go to this place. So I go to this place, I leave, I go on my trip, and I come back and I call when I get back to Chicago. I said, hey, you know, can I pick my car up?
Yeah.
You know, because my car, that particular car of mine was always in storage during the winter. So it never saw the snow. It never saw, if I saw rain, I made a U-turn and went back in the garage. That's how much I love that car. So I called this person up. I said, hey, can I get my car? I'm in town. I want to come get it. And it's summertime, you know. He's like, we're still working on it. And I'm like, it was just in there for a tune-up, oil change. I mean, what are you talking about? You're still working on it. Yeah, how long does it take? He's like, oh, we'll call you back. So like a couple of days passed, and I kind of forgot about it. A couple of days passed. And then, you know, my wife's like, well, where's your car? You're going to go get your car. And I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot about it. I got to call him. So I called a guy up and I said, hey, you know, can I get my car? It's like been, you know, longer than it should be there. Yeah. Let me call you back. So that's the second time when someone tells you, let me call you back, that's when you know something is wrong. Ooh. So I got in my car. I drove off to Highland Park. I went to the dealership. I said, now what's wrong with my car? So the guy goes, well, Mr. King, we got some bad news. And I said, okay, like, what's the news? And he's like, we got some good news, we got some bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? And I said, well, what's the good news? Because I hate to hear the bad news first. What's the good news? Well, your car's here. It's here. It's here. It's on the lot. It's here. So I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. You know, I thought he was going to tell me it was stolen or something. That's a good thing. I said, what's the bad news? Well, we had a break-in this weekend, and they broke into your car, and they kind of stole all the stereo equipment out of it. So I said, what? Like what? How in the world does that happen at a dealership? Okay, where was the car? Was it parked out on the street? Yeah. Like outside in the front of the dealership? Yeah. Wasn't it like inside, like I asked you? Well, we had too many cars and we had to move some cars to the outside. So I said, well, where was my car parked at? So they said, oh, we had it in a secure lot, and they had the big fences and with the barbed wire. Yeah. So I said, so you're telling me that someone on the outside jumped over a barbed wire fence, got over into your lot. No other cars were broken into but mine. Okay, so that right there told me it was an inside job. I mean, I don't have to be, you know, Cannon or Barnaby Jones to realize that was an inside job. It wasn't MacGyver. Yeah. So the guy was like, well, no one would do that here. I said, dude, I go, you're telling me there's 20 cars out here and my car was the only one that got broken into. So now I started doing homework. So BJ tells me, he said, "Hey King, I saw your car over at the." So he says, he goes, "I thought I saw your car over at the car wash," because he got, he was over getting his car detailed over in Highland Park, and he goes, "But the license plates were different because I had NWA on my plates," and he was like, "But that's why I didn't think it was yours." But I kind of walked around. I was like, "Man, that's Stacey's car. It just changed license plates." Oh, so that's when I knew something happened. So what happened was somebody in their business took my car off the lot, switched the plates so that they wouldn't recognize that it was gone, drove it off somewhere to some chop shop, and they completely gutted out my whole stereo system. They took the bass and everything out of the trunk. I mean, everything was gone. And the crazy thing about it was they couldn't even use it. It was a waste of time trying to get it, because that particular stereo system, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know, it's not like everybody could have put that system in. There's only 2 places in the country that did it. And you would have to either go out to California or Ohio, where I got it done, to get it done. So whoever got it was just a wasted thing, but they just, they tore my car. But then they try to tell me, well, we're not responsible.
Too bad your phone didn't call you. They were
somebody stealing the stereo equipment.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? I didn't have the keys, buddy. Okay. And since you want to be a smart butt over there, okay. So they try to devalue the cost. When I told them how much it cost, showed them the receipt. There's no way a world stereo system costs this much. I said, yeah, if you're walking around with an 8-track tape, yeah, your course is not going to cost that. But this is a superior sound system. Here's the receipt. You can call the company. This is what it costs. So we literally were fighting this, and then they had the nerve to tell me to read the service paper, because they always have something on the end of the paper.
Yeah,
we're not responsible. You can't even see unless you get a magnifying glass to read it.
Great font.
Yeah, and it says, like, it'll say something like, if you don't pick the car up within 24 hours after it's done, we're not responsible. So they try to use that route. So then I had to tell them, must I pull your man and take him to court and put him on the stand and have him tell you that the general manager told me that my car was safe here, that I could leave it here? Do I have to do that? And then basically they had to pay for it. So to end the long story, I ended up getting my stereo system put in. It cost them more to put it in the second time than it did the first time. It was like $21,000 to do it.
So the motto of the story is, you should have gone to Motorworks.
Yeah, looking for a sponsor.
Motorworks of Barrington.
You know what? The moral of the story is stay there with your car, and then when it's done, take it home. Don't leave it longer than what you have to leave it there. That's the moral of the story.
Absolutely.
Well, we were going to talk about a lot of things, but the show is going a little bit longer.
It's going longer.
So
you know what?
People can take their NCAA brackets. They can ball them up and throw them in the basket, because 8 out of 9 Big Ten teams are out. We thought Illinois might make a run to the Final Four. They got knocked out by Loyola. Sister Jean maybe taking more of the national spotlight, as the Ramblers have a pretty open path now to get to the Final Four.
Rambling man. Yeah.
I don't see anybody beating Gonzaga.
No,
I'm sorry.
They beat your Sooners yesterday.
I didn't go to Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I went to Gonzaga. We won. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the mean streets of Norman, Oklahoma.
Hey, listen, man. I didn't go to OU. Stop saying that. Okay. All right. I told you I went to Gonzaga. We won.
We're also going to have to table John's talk about his hockey cards. We'll save that for next week. And
thank God.
We'll also talk more about some childhood games next week.
Yeah, because we do have a wiffle ball challenge out there when it gets a little warmer out outside the studio here.
You're going to bring the heat, huh?
Yeah, it's not going to.
Listen, man.
It's going to be 1, 2, 3.
Listen, man.
You know that?
Listen.
Good morning, good afternoon,
John's
good night.
hitting the speed bag.
Hey, listen, he sent me a video yesterday, right? It was the most disturbing video I've ever seen. So I get a text from him.
On YouTube.
He texts me all the time. Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, we put it on.
Okay.
No,
we did.
No.
Okay, please don't.
Not the speed bag.
Yeah, so he texts me, right? And so he's at the speed bag. So, John is a guy that works out,
feverishly.
He works out. Yeah, he swims laps, in a thong, but he works out. So anyway, so the Speedos, you know what I'm saying. So he hates to wear clothing.
That would be a man code.
Yeah, man code violation. Yeah. So he's at the speed bag, and as he's getting ready to hit the speed bag, he's looking and talking to me in the camera, and then he hits the Rocky Balboa, Eye of the Tiger. Dun, 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 dun. And then he starts hitting the bag. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm
boom.
hitting it too.
And I don't want to say all that, but he was hitting the bag. Okay, he's in the bag. Then he did some like one arm push-ups, and he barely could get up. He could barely get up. He had one arm push-ups. Say, we got to get the video of this. We got to get the video of this. And then he was chasing like chickens around the backyard, like Rocky did. He was trying to catch it. King, look, lightning! I'm fast. King, look at this. And he's chasing little chickens around the backyard. I said, this has gone too far. Where is Southside Susan? Susan, do not leave this man at the house. Susan was downtown in the city, and she left him at the house by himself. And this man had a Rocky moment.
I was getting ready for Razor Blades. I was getting you guys fired up.
And he capped it off with a Chuck Swirsky victory dance.
Oh,
what he did after
the music.
Ohio University got the upset in the first round of NCAA.
He did a dance.
That was something.
That's, the dance ain't for everybody. That's all I'm gonna say.
And our boy Rich is the guy who's got to videotape that. So Rich,
He's forced to do that.
you're a good soldier.
You want a job, Rich? Film me dancing.
We want to thank Chicago's very own Curtis Razor Blaydes for joining us. He was a fantastic guest. We wish him well in his upcoming bouts. Tim reliving some painful memories of his MMA career there as well.
Flashbacks.
Episode 21 of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast is in the books. Look forward to seeing you again next week.
Drive home safely. We got hot sauce. Sriracha. Saucy.